Welcome, football fans. You are alive. Third down with Morgan Holder. I am Morgan.
And I am Holder. Welcome to our show, post-season version.
We're going to talk about a couple things here on this show. But first, I want to give a shout out to Undisputed with one of the greatest tight ends.
Morgan,
What?
Morgan,
What?
do we have to do your shouts out?
Yeah. Undisputed is the best. And matter of fact, one of the greatest tight ends ever is the host of that show, Shannon Sharp.
No, I don't think he's the greatest ever.
He is the greatest tight end.
I think Gonzalez is the greatest.
Maybe. But Shannon Sharp is the greatest. He has a Super Bowl. Tony Gonzalez does not. So he's the greatest. I also want to give a shout out to First Take with the best sports analyst and Stephen A. Smith. And Good Morning Football, the best breaking news football show out there.
Oh, you added GMFB. Finally, you came to your senses.
I did. I like it. It gives you the breaking news.
Why did you let go of Mike and Mike? I thought you were Mr. Mike and Mike.
I like Mike and Mike, but they don't do breaking news like Good Morning Football. Good Morning Football
Mike
gives you breaking news.
A standing talk show. They don't do updates.
Well, they
fly.
They should, but because they don't, I have to give a shout out to Good Morning Football. Holder, I think we could bypass yours because we know who yours is. It's that guy Ryan Clark or some sort or something like that.
Super Bowl safety Ryan Clark, who hosts the Pivot. I like my Speak for Yourself with the exception of a few people on the panel. And I like Get Up with the exception of a few people. Now, Joy Taylor is a great addition to, Speak for Yourself. Better than looking at Marcellus Wiley. But those are the great shows.
I don't know about great shows. Maybe in your opinion.
Nobody listens to what you say except stats people.
Hey, stats is where it's at. Holder,
yeah.
If we can go back, I'm pretty sure I beat you pretty much all year this year. Matter of fact, that's what we should do. We should go back and look to see who won the most games for our next show.
I'm not interested in your history, okay?
I'm just trying to provide some updates and some feedback. And
our listeners are not interested to know who won our picks in history.
They might not,
are interested
but we need to know who is right. Is it my stats or is it your so-called talent?
They're interested in the NFL, not you and I.
Okay,
we're boring, okay?
I don't know about boring, but hold on, I want to ask you a question before I'll
Morgan?
Did you hear me? I asked you. I said, what is the best thing besides the draft for the offseason? What is the best thing?
I couldn't tell you. The draft is the only thing.
I could think what's the best thing. Off-season. Off-season because you got trades, you got free agency, you have draft picks being traded. I like the off-season. Granted, draft is during off-season, but I like the off-season equation stuff better. With that being said,
I prefer during the season activities than off-season activities.
Yes and no. And why I'm going to say that is
you don't like watching the games, huh?
Let me tell you why. Because off-season, for example, say that I don't know, Tay Higgins gets traded to Pittsburgh, right? In the offseason. Now he has the ability to know the playbook better than what he would during the season if he gets traded.
I'm not feeling your emotions here.
All right, whatever. Anyways, so during the offseason, we're going to talk about the conferences. So today we're going to talk about the NFC South and AFC South teams. That's what we're going to do. And we're going to start off with the NFC South. First up, the Atlanta Falcons. Holder, this is going to sound crazy to you, but I believe the Falcons should trade for Lamar Jackson.
Of course you would. I'm not altogether there with that team and Lamar. I mean, there's no promise there.
I mean, there's no promise there, but I mean, they're a young, talented team. I believe so. I believe they're a young, talented team. I mean, I get it. They have Desmond Ritter, but I think Lamar would be a good fit. And the reason why I say that, Cordell Patterson's over there. He's a good addition for the Falcons. He can run, he can catch, he can play multiple positions. And they got some young, talented receivers. So I think Lamar Jackson gets in that system. I think he can find those receivers better than he could for Baltimore. And that's how I feel.
Well, I'm not sold on Lamar Jackson's passing skills. So
I understand that. I understand that completely. Lamar Jackson does have some good legs ability. He can run. But people fail to realize he can also throw. Just because his completions percentage ain't as great as people want them to be, but he can still throw.
Yeah, he can't throw to win.
But you got to think, though, playing for Baltimore, he had no really good receivers. None. I mean, Mark Andrews, he's a tight end. It's the only one he has over there.
Well, he had receivers before
the
decline of their receiving core.
Not like what you think. Not like that.
He wasn't a great passer in Louisville either.
That is your preference. That is you. That's how you think. I can't say you're not right about that, because you're definitely wrong. I feel like he had some great ability of passing in Louisville.
Yeah, I really think he should get with somebody, a veteran quarterback that can help him improve himself. Because think about this.
I don't know. I'm gonna listen to you, but
there's no doubt what his legs can do. Can you understand how much more valuable he could be if he was a prolific passing quarterback?
I believe he has the ability to be that prolific quarterback. I had the mindset that he is no doubt going to be the greatest quarterback that play the game. I mean, what you got to look at the Falcons. The Falcons has the young guy in Kyle Pitts. I mean, he's tight end, but he's a great at what he does. And then they also have Drake London, and he's another young guy. I think he was a rookie this past season. I mean, both those guys are at 6'4", 6'6". Both of them can catch. Both of them can run. I mean, and then you also have some younger, other young receivers over there. Frank Darby. So, I don't know. I just feel like that the Falcons would be his best opportunity. And he's playing in a dome. He's not playing in the cold unless he travels somewhere else.
I don't know. I think it would be a better fit in other places. I mean, you got the Colts. You got Orleans.
You really think he's going to be a good fit for the Colts? Why do you think he's going to be good for the Colts?
Look at the talent they have. Are you serious?
But do you think that coaching system, he can fit in with that coaching system?
If he wants to get paid, he's going to have to fit in.
And you said New Orleans after you said the Colts. I don't think New Orleans is going to be a fit because I believe Carr's going to go to New Orleans.
Well, that's not in stone.
That's true.
Quarterbacks visit. They visit these teams. I mean, look at he's not a quarterback. When you look at the Honey Badger,
he's over in New Orleans.
He visited how many teams, and he landed in New Orleans?
He went back. I mean, that's where he's from. He's from Louisiana, so he wanted to go back. But yeah, you're right. He did visit a lot of teams. Where Lamar Jackson is not a free agent. I mean, he is a free agent, but the Baltimore Ravens can also franchise tag him. So technically, maybe they might have to trade for him. I don't know. But speaking of the NFC South, I know this team is a team that you really don't care about. I don't care about them either. But the Carolina Panthers. What roster changers do you think would help them to succeed? Do you think is it going to be a quarterback position? Do you think it's going to be a receiver position? Maybe the whole offense with the running back also. How do you feel?
The whole team.
The whole team. You feel like the whole team.
The whole team. I mean.
So you're trying to tell me when Donald came back from being injured, that team wasn't good?
Let me tell you about Carolina. Carolina used to be a team that had a lot of fire, like a lot of spark. When Steve Smith Jr. was there, that team was such a threat, right? I can't remember the quarterback's name at that time, but they started that, and then, with the drum and everything.
Right.
That team was so, hype. There's no hype. There's no life in that team right now. So, yeah, you definitely got to shore up the quarterback position. Definitely.
I mean, but you got to think, like I said, when Sam Darnold came back from being injured, like that team was on fire. Like they was clicking. Way better than what, a sorry-ass Baker Mayfield was there. So
I just think they got to go with something fresh. I think they just got to.
I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens. I mean, you might be right. They might need a fresh start. Start over fresh, rebuild.
I think they need a fresh start because now they did kind of make a run, near the end of the season.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's just a lot to do in Carolina, and I don't think you can do it in one off season.
So do you think it's going to take a couple years for them to rebuild? So maybe this year, next year. So would you give it 3 to 4 years, or would you say 5 years for them to be talented and competing for a championship?
It just depends where they fall in the draft in upcoming years, and worst case scenario, 4 years. I'm thinking.
I'm gonna say, and I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm gonna say 3. And the reason why I'm saying 3 is because the defense is really good. So if they stay with that defense and they beef it up, and maybe I'm gonna say stick with Darnold until we find out about this year and how good he could be. But I would say also beef up the offensive line, and then maybe they would be a contender. Because like I said, the defense is really good.
I don't know how good the defense is. I don't even know what they ranked this past season, but I don't know how many points they gave up per game. But Carolina,
so
when you think about it, how much airtime did they get? How much prime time did they get?
They didn't get a lot. So they allowed 20 points.
Hold on. These guys just show up and leave.
So Holder was saying he didn't know how Carolina was ranked. I mean, they gave up 2,000 yards rushing. They gave up 3,868 yards passing. So that defense does need work. Does need some work done to them. But I feel like beef up that defense, maybe offensive line, because even the offense wasn't too bad. I mean, it was almost 3,000 yards passing, and that is with 2 quarterbacks, and I want to say PJ Walker as well. So 3. We say 3 quarterbacks coming in and trying to adjust to this team of helping them out, and then even without Chris McCaffrey, they still averaged 2,000 yards rushing. So that's a good thing. So Altogether, they had 976 total offense plays for 5,456 yards. So that offense is not bad. Defense can be worked on because total offensive plays for the defense was 1,103 with 6,183 yards total, with 363 yards per game. So Carolina does need to beef up that defense for sure.
So where do you think they'll finish next season in the division?
It's really hard to say right now, just because you have,
exactly.
Give me until the draft, and I'll tell you. So April, come into April, I will tell you when they will finish. Speaking of New Orleans, I know you said Lamar Jackson would be a good fit for New Orleans, but did you know that New Orleans tried to trade for Derek Carr before he was released? So that right there tells me that they're trying to push for Derek Carr.
Well, that's a possibility. I mean, anything is possible. Anything is possible. But not guaranteed. It's one thing to push to get a guy, but when you sit down and talk to him and see where his head is at, because that quarterback is mentally destroyed, right? When you're not wanted in a locker room, when you have been labeled as can't win the big game, it does something to your psyche, man. Maybe he has a chip on his shoulder.
I think Derek Carr is a good quarterback. I'm not saying he's great, but I think he's good. He's not going to be the one that wins your Super Bowl, but he will get you to the playoffs. So he's a good quarterback. He's not great, but he's good.
What's the goal?
The goal is to have at least multiple championships. That should be the goal. But Derek Carr now is in his 30s, so if he gets one, it would be good for him. But I don't think he'll get none at all unless he goes to a really good team. Say,
so why couldn't he be?
Hey, you gotta think.
Why couldn't he be a backup somewhere? If you know he's not going to win you the big game, why wouldn't you just bring him on as a backup?
Because that's something he's not going to do. He's not going to be a backup to nobody, especially a young quarterback. It's not going to happen. Now he might back up Patrick Mahomes, and I'm just saying that he might back up Patrick Mahomes just because he knows this Mahomes team is Kansas City. But it's not. I'm not saying he's going to go to Kansas City. But if that happens, he could back up Mahomes, and he might be okay with it. But I don't see Carr being a backup.
I like Derek Carr, but I don't really. I don't think, like you said, he's in his 30s, I guess.
Definitely, yeah.
But, you gotta, as a franchise, you want to bring in the best players to get that title.
Absolutely. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying New Orleans is a bad team. I'm not saying New Orleans is not a bad team. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that Derek Carr would not get them to the championship. That's all I'm saying.
So why bring him in?
Maybe they feel like he's the one. I just don't see it. I'm sorry. I don't see Derek Carr doing that. But then again, anything's possible. Because I didn't think Geno Smith was going to be a good quarterback, and look what happened, this past year. So.
Oh yeah, I know. He went to the Super Bowl. Huh?
He went to the Pro Bowl. Granted, the Pro Bowl was a flag.
Look, dude. There's a different chart, right? You have quarterbacks that are elite. You have quarterbacks that are, what do they call them? Good managers, right? They manage the game.
Unlike Kirk Cousins.
And then you have quarterbacks that are subpar, that are.
I think Derek Carr is subpar. I don't think he's a good manager when it comes to game time. I don't think he's an elite quarterback. He's subpar. I'm putting him in that category.
Yeah, I think he would be an awesome, good backup. An awesome backup because he can win you some games. till your starter comes back. I don't think you would have to worry about losing a lot of games.
Now,
let's say your starter was out for 3 weeks.
Now, but hold on now. You said he can win games. The question is, are they going to be cold games or hot games? Because he cannot win in the cold. And he proved it.
Well, if he's going to New Orleans, there's a 50-50 because you're playing, in a dome half of the season.
That's true.
So, and it depends on the time of year. If your quarterback goes down at the end of the season, well, then he's not going to get you the big game.
No, I guess we'll see what happens. Like I said, he's going to mull over the teams, and he's going to mull over his future, just like Aaron Rodgers. So it will come in time. It will. Speaking of a team, and I don't want to talk about this team because I don't like their ex-quarterback they had, but I got to because they're part of the NFC South. The Buccaneers. So, Holder called timeout. He's still at work. He's in another state, so that's why he called timeout. But I'm gonna talk about the Buccaneers while he's on hold. TB12 retired. Now the question is, how would the Buccaneers blow up the roster and go into rebuilding mode? Question is, should they trade some players, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, or should they just leave those two guys alone and maybe get Jacoby Brissett and Geno Smith and maybe worry about rebuilding next year in the draft? That's the question I want answered, and that's what I want to know because the Buccaneers definitely needs help. I don't know what they are going to do. I can't tell you that, but they are definitely $55 million over cap. So they need to do something. They need to work out some kinks to get some good veteran players. Maybe. Honestly, if I was the owner and GM of Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I would probably trade. Now, I like Mike Evans. I do. Don't get me wrong, but I will probably trade Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and a couple of defensive players like Ver, just so I can get under my salary cap and maybe get a big-time quarterback like the likes of Aaron Rodgers or Derek Carr or even Geno Smith, because Geno Smith wants that money. Or they might say, hey, we're going to sit back and draft a quarterback. Now, there's a lot of quarterbacks in draft this year. It's going to be pretty good, but can Tampa Bay wait that long for a quarterback to fall in our laps? That's the question, right? I don't know if they're going to be ready for that. I don't know if they should even take a chance because, C.J. Stroud might be gone. Bryce Young, we know he's definitely going to be gone. He might go to the Colts. And the way it looks like the Bears might be offering up some talks about trading Justin Fields. So it all just depends on what they can do over in Tampa Bay and how much money they are willing to spend. Like I said, they're way over the cap. So me and thinking realistically and logically, I would get rid of a couple players that has a lot on their cap space and clear it up. Because you don't want to wait to keep those guys around and then draft a quarterback and then, oh, hey, we're going to go ahead and trade Mike Evans. Even though we drafted, the quarterback we want, that's going to be our future. Now we got to go and draft a receiver in next year's draft just to keep that going, right? So I'll go ahead and trade them, rebuild, start fresh, get some young talent over there. If it's a receiver, quarterback, and a running back, or if it's just two receivers and a quarterback, start it off right, get it going. With that being said, guys, I want you guys' opinions and thoughts on the NFC South, what we just talked about, those teams. So, recap of those teams. It was the Falcons, the Saints, Carolina, and Tampa Bay. So, listeners, subscribers, if you guys are listening, please let me know your thoughts on those teams and how you feel would help and benefit from those teams. Who you think they should get. Moving on to the AFC South. The AFC South, first up, Houston Texans. I know there's a lot of Houston Texans fans tuning in and subscribed. I want to know how we all feel about DeMarco Ryan. Is he going to be a good coach there in Houston? I mean, Houston needs a lot of help from offense to defense to even special teams. With DeMarco Ryans coming in, do you really feel like he's going to be the one that takes you to the playoffs or even the Super Bowl? Right now, they do have 2 first-round picks, and they are $40 million in cap space. So, will that be enough? Is the question. Will that $40 million cap space be enough for the Texans to turn things around? I'm going to go in on a limb and say no, just because if they sign multiple people that wants long extensions, or even go after veterans like Mike Evans, who we just talked about, that's going to put them over the cap. Or should they just hold that $40 million in cap space and maybe trade to get some more draft picks? Again, it's hard to tell. If it was me, I would say draft. That's what young guys, young veterans, go after young people. I want to say Houston, I think they have, the second pick, third pick in the first round, something like that. I would take Bryce Young if Bryce Young is still available. Or they can also go and trade for Justin Fields. But long as you have a veteran, young quarterback like Justin Fields, I think the Texans will be okay. And I think, what they finished last year? They finished, they went 3-2-1 against divisional opponents. So, and that's with limited talent. That is with limited talent. What was their, kind of look for their, yeah, so they only won one. Looks like they only won 3 games last year. So
what do they need then?
the Houston Texans needs a lot, and that's why I was telling the fans and the listeners, subscribers, is that Texans need a lot. So here's
they got Lovie Smith, right? They have Lovie Smith.
No, he got fired. They have DeMarco Ryan. They got rid of Lovie. They have DeMarco Ryans, and they got 2 first-round picks. And
that's right. You're right.
And they have $40 million in cap space. I don't think, and like I was telling the listeners, I don't think $40 million in cap space is going to be enough for the Texans to turn things around. And that's why I was saying go after young vets like Justin Fields, or even if it was me, I would keep that $40 million in cap space and go after draft picks. That way you can build that team up, and maybe 2 to 3 years they'd be talented enough to win that division.
Yeah, they can build it. There's a lot of talent coming out of the draft this year.
And I want to say, I could be wrong. I got to look. I want to say that the Houston Texans are like in the top 4 of the picks. So they might end up falling to get, Bryce Young from Alabama or C.J. Stroud from Ohio State. It's a possibility things like that can happen.
Well, Justin Fields sounds right if the Bears are willing to trade him.
That's true, but would you want the Bears to have the 1 and the 4th pick? It's the question.
The Bears still have a lot of building to do, too. Even with Justin Fields gone, they got to get a quarterback.
That's true. That is true. We'll get to the Bears division later during the offseason, but definitely I agree. Now, the next from the AFC South is the Colts. This is no brainer. If I was the Colts, I would let go of Matt Ryan and go in the draft. Or if you keep Matt Ryan, keep him to mentor the young quarterback you draft. That's what I would do, because you got to think about this. They had Peyton Manning at one time. They drafted Andrew Luck. I feel like if they would have kept Peyton Manning to mentor Andrew Luck would have been amazing.
Andrew Luck was amazing. He just got hurt.
Yeah, but if you have a mentor, because you got to think Peyton Manning didn't have a line that much either, right? And he got hurt a lot. But if you have that mentor that tells you, hey, run the ball, don't take sacks, don't take hits, try to run the ball, I think Andrew Luck would be still in the league right now.
Dude, I'm going to have to burn you on that one, because Andrew Luck was a great quarterback. He didn't have an offensive line. They drafted a tackle for him for his blind side.
But again,
he held the ball too long.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
And injuries caught up with him.
Peyton Manning
he was doing good.
If Peyton Manning was his mentor, because Peyton Manning held the ball long, he wasn't a running quarterback. If Peyton Manning would have told him, "Hey, you're doing what I did. I don't want to see you get hurt like I got hurt. Run the ball. All you have to do."
I thought this was a football podcast. I don't think you know what you're talking about.
Oh, I know what I'm talking about. I don't think you know what you're talking about.
I think you better stick with synchronized swimming or something.
Swimming. Why don't you just say golf? I'm just saying. I mean, go back and even look at Peyton Manning's rookie stats and his stats after maybe his third year compared to Andrew Luck's and tell me who was better.
Well, they built a team around him. They didn't build a team around Andrew Luck.
Again, Peyton Manning didn't have a line his first 3 years. Just saying.
I know his numbers showed it, but he didn't have great numbers either.
Exactly, but his fourth year, what happened? He knew what he was supposed to do. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you're right.
That's what I'm saying. And now I could be wrong. Maybe he wouldn't have mentored Andrew Luck. Maybe Andrew Luck would have came out firing on all cylinders like he did. But I don't want the Colts. I'm not a Colts fan, but I got some friends who are Colts fans, and I would like to see the Colts do really well next year. That's all I'm going to say on that one.
Yeah, all they need is Derek Carr.
Oh, God, no. Anybody. I don't think they want Derek Carr. I don't think they want him.
He's better than what they had.
That is true. But look what the coaches did. They got Phillip Rivers, washed up quarterback. They got another washed up quarterback in Matt Ryan. Why would you go and get another washed up quarterback in Derek Carr?
You said you like Derek Carr. Now he's washed up.
He's washed up. I mean, he's not going to win you the big games, but he can win you some games.
You know what? I can't do this with you.
I'm just saying.
Carr needs a good system. I think the Colts have a good system.
No.
They have talent out there.
No. Negative. I mean,
so you're saying
the Colts have good talent, but he's not right for that system. Again, he can't play in the code. The Colts.
Who's good for the Colts system? Who's good for the Colts system?
Who's good for the Colts system? Honestly, if it was me, I would like Justin Fields. I would honestly.
You want to put Justin Fields in that system?
Yep.
He's already.
Or even that young guy out of Kentucky. What's his name? Levi. I think that's his name. The quarterback's coming into the draft. Even him. So.
Yeah, I guess if you want to ruin his career,
I mean. Even though I know the Colts are probably trying to get Bryce Young, I wouldn't do it. Bryce Young is good. Don't get me wrong, he's good, but I don't think he's built for that system either. Just saying. You want somebody who... Okay, even though I know I said Levi from Kentucky, I honestly think the coach should get somebody who has played multiple, even 1 or 2 seasons in the NFL as a quarterback. That way they can groom him. And he can, mold with that team. Instead of jump right off and draft a quarterback who needs to get used to the NFL. I don't know.
What's the weather like in Kentucky right now?
71.
Okay. That might be affecting what's coming out of your mouth.
What's affecting coming out of my mouth is you, Holder. You. Speaking of weather... You know what I like the most about weather?
What?
Warm weather.
It's unpredictable.
Warm weather. Jacksonville Jaguars. This team was, oh man, they was a team to watch for, wasn't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they. I think with 1 or 2 pieces, they can be a complete team.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Because there are $31 million over the cap space. The question I'm going to ask you is, can they re-sign the right tackle in Jawan Taylor and tight end Evan Ingram? because the cap space restraints now, or do you think they should sign one and let the other one go?
Well, they could probably get away with the restructuring both if the players are willing to do so.
That's true.
If they want to restructure and extend it, then they can keep both players. And if you think about it, they have a lot of rookies that they don't have to pay right now.
That is true. That is true. I mean, I like where Jacksonville was going this year. I feel like if they would have beat Kansas City, I would have felt like they probably would have came close of not beating the Cincinnati Bengals.
Didn't they beat your Chargers?
They did beat my Chargers. They didn't. Hold on. They didn't just beat them. They kind of demolished them.
Yeah, because they had a big point spread when they
did. And
your Super Bowl bound Chargers lost to them, didn't they?
Oh man, I don't even want to talk about that. No more am I going off and saying this team's going to win the Super Bowl because anything's predictable.
I have a guest in my area.
But with Jacksonville, they had the same team that Urban Meyer had, and he couldn't win no games with them. That should tell you something about this team. So,
well, Urban Meyer just wasn't cut out to be an NFL coach. What do you think, Caleb? She just humped her shoulders.
Oh God!
I don't think he knows much about football, but he just didn't have. He was going against the flow of what the NFL was asking of him, and the players didn't really buy into what he was all about either.
That's true. That is true. I don't know. I feel like the Jacksonville Jaguars. Yeah, you're right. They need to get one or two pieces. Maybe. I mean, I like the wide receiver they have.
It's supposed to be an hour.
I like the wide receiver they have in Kirk.
Okay, 8 minutes.
But at the same time, I think maybe they go get a receiver, maybe a vet receiver. I think that would help out that team, and maybe somebody else on the defensive end. So, I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, I think they'll finish top of the division.
Oh, I think they're going to win. I think they would win that division definitely. Yeah, unless the coach do something fabulous and remarkable. But I think Jacksonville's going to be a team to beat this year in that division this year or next year.
Yeah, they'll be 1. Tennessee will be 2.
Speaking of Tennessee, the last team of the AFC South. I don't think they're going to be number 2. Let me tell you why. They have some issues going on over there. How can they fix this roster and make them back to a contender? Is it Ryan Tannehill? Do you keep him? Because here's the thing. Tennessee just released some players today. They released 3-time Pro Bowler Taylor Lee Wynn, and they also released Robert Woods. So, you tell me how this team could be number 2.
Do you think Indianapolis is going to beat Tennessee?
Yes. Right now, yes. Right now, I do believe. Hell, I even think Houston could beat Tennessee right now with.
What's the weather like in Kentucky?
71.
I don't see it. Indianapolis has a lot to prove for me.
Tennessee let go 3 players today. 2 big ones. So you trying to tell me?
And you don't think that they're going to go out and get a veteran to replace those guys? Somebody, I mean, because not everybody, but most teams are over cap.
Here's a question. Here's the $1 million question for your holder. Ryan Tannehill. Malik
over.
Malik Willis.
He's done.
Malik Willis could not even remotely get the ball over 80 yards. So you try to tell me,
but you know what?
No, hold on. You try to tell me that this team's gonna be number 2 with that situation.
Definitely. They have a
Negative.
quarterback in Indianapolis. Who do they have in Indianapolis?
Indianapolis has a lot of players. All they have to do is get rid of Matt Ryan. That's all they have to do. Just
Okay,
saying.
but he was on a 2-year deal, right?
Yes.
Well, this is the second year.
Well, I guess they should definitely him mentor somebody. But here's the thing. And this is where I'm going to focus on this right now, and I'm going to leave it alone after I say this. The Tennessee Titans only averaged 17 points per game last season. So, you tell me, how would that be number 2?
I don't know. I just don't think the Colts are the team to finish ahead of Tennessee.
I believe they will. Not to mention, Tennessee's also $23 million over cap space. So,
which contracts can be altered.
Again, I don't see Tennessee coming out AFC South and being in the playoffs. I don't see it.
Well, I hope they release Bud Dupree so we can get him back.
Oh, God. Here we go. Why would you want him back? He didn't do anything for you guys. He was hurt.
You are insane, man. Again, what's the weather like in Kentucky?
Why do you want Bud?
I know you're burning up. You wear a white beater T-shirt and below zero weather, so I don't think your head's all together there.
What? It wasn't that cold. But why do you want Bud? Why do you want Bud Dupree back?
Bud Dupree and T.J. Watt together, man, were insane. Alex Highsmith is good, but if you have those three and you have Alex Highsmith in a rotation, are you kidding me? Man, that defense will be stout.
I mean, I guess you're right. But the question is, what's Bud Dupree's contract like? Is it in the high millions? Is it low millions? That's the question you got to ask, right?
I honestly think because he had his own talk show in Pittsburgh, Bud brought a buddy, right?
Right.
So he had that going before his contract expired. So why not bring him back for less money? And we have money because we have a bunch of rookies we don't have to pay.
That's true. That is true. So let me ask you a question, Holder, because we was talking about this earlier in the week. So let me ask you a question. Since we're on this kick of the AFC South and NFC South, DeAndre Hopkins and Mike Evans, both of them were on a trading block. Also with Jalen Ramsey. Do you see any of these teams from the South, of the NFC or AFC South, picking one of those guys up? Even though Mike Evans is from Tampa Bay in the NFC South, do you think he's going to stay in NFC South or do you think he's going to move on? But
I think none of those players will go to a team that doesn't have a chance of winning.
So you're trying to tell me, even though the Colts are a young, talented team, you don't see any of those 3 players going to the Colts?
Not unless they get a quarterback.
Jalen Ramsey, is defense. So I'm going to say if Jalen Ramsey goes to the Colts, as we was talking about, the exception of without Matt Ryan, I think the Colts will be a lot better on defense. That way they can now work ahead on the rookie quarterback they get.
Yeah, that's good reasoning.
Because now, if they say if they go after the likes of Hopkins or Evans, guess what? Now you have to mold a quarterback. Now the question is, do you get a veteran quarterback with a veteran receiver instead of a young quarterback, right? That's what But now, here's the other $1 million question. If Tennessee Titans gets one of those 3 players, do you think Titans now are contenders?
Negative.
I agree with you. Because Titans need a quarterback as well. But, again, if the Saints now get one of those 3 players, do you think the Saints are contenders? I can't say this. I can't say the Saints will be contenders if they get one of those 3 players. No. But I can say the Falcons could be. The Falcons could be contenders. I'm just saying. I think the Falcons could be. could be contenders with one of those three players. And Holder, another thing, Diggs, he has to be traded, right? So you think Diggs would be a good addition for one of these AFC or NFC South teams?
He'd be a good addition for New Orleans.
Even without a quarterback over there, you think he would go to New Orleans?
Yeah.
With no, because you got to think, okay, so he came from a team in Minnesota that had a subpar quarterback in Kirk Cousins, to a team with the elite quarterback in Josh Allen. But now, if he goes to the Saints, they have no quarterback over there right now. You really think he's going to go to Saints?
I say he'd be a good fit. They can get a quarterback. I think he'd be a good fit. I mean, you said Carr wasn't bad.
Do you think Diggs can make Carr into a Super Bowl winning quarterback?
I don't think anywhere Diggs goes, he'll be happy.
Here's my I like Diggs, but he's a crybaby. You know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of Terrell Owens. Both receivers is me. I want the ball. I want to win. Me. They don't take accountability of, hey, I've been here with this team for 2 years. Let's get better, guys. Let's go. Come on. They don't do that. They think, oh, well, I got this quarterback, so we should win right now. It doesn't work like that. Defense also helps, you know. So, I don't know.
Yeah. It's he's an upstanding, athlete. I think he's elite. But, like you said, I don't think he has the patience to know exactly what goes into winning a championship. You can't win every game. He's got a talented quarterback in Buffalo that he wants to run away from.
Josh Allen is an elite quarterback. He is the elite quarterback. He does make some mistakes, but everybody makes mistakes in the game, right? But if you could fix those mistakes, Buffalo will be a team to be a threat. Now, I'm just gonna throw this out there. I want to see what your take is, because I know we got some Cowboy fans listening and that subscribed. Your take on Diggs going to the Cowboys with his brother. Do you think he can make that team better, worse, or the same?
Morgan.
What?
Why do I even bother with you?
I'm just asking here. Again, I know we got some Cowboy fans, so I'm just going to ask that question.
You know what? I'm not going to step on any toes. That's your job.
I believe that he can make.
The good guy. You're the bad guy.
I believe he can make Prescott better. I really do. I believe Diggs can make Prescott better. I mean, Diggs might be the guy that punches Prescott in the eye to get him over that interception throwing hump. I don't know. Would you take Diggs in Pittsburgh, or would you say no?
That's a tough one. When you talk Dak Prescott, first of all, there's no help there. I think that's just who he is, right?
I think if Prescott gets punched a couple times, I think he would change his way he plays his game.
I think Dak has a lot going on. He's got pressure from the fans. He's got pressure from his backup.
That's what happens when you play for the America's team. That's what they say, right?
Yeah, well, that's what they call it.
I'll call them crybabies, but go on. Sorry, go on. I didn't mean to cut you off. Anyways, go on.
No, and the last part of that, I heard you mention Pittsburgh, but I didn't catch everything because I was assisting someone.
Would you want Diggs and Pitt? Would you rather have Diggs and Pitt?
No, Diggs is a cancer. I don't want him anywhere near Pittsburgh.
He would remind me of Antonio Brown. Wouldn't you say the same?
Now, Antonio Brown was better than Diggs, but I wouldn't have neither one of them. I think we learned from Antonio Brown, and Diggs is I don't know. He's not a team player.
Like I said before, Diggs is about himself. He's a me. Right? I guarantee you, in his relationship, I don't know if he's even married, but in his relationship, I guarantee it's all about him. Right? Hey, make my plate first. Hey, this is my money. Don't touch. He's a me guy. That's what kind of person I believe he is in real life. I believe he's selfish. I believe he thinks about nobody but himself, and I don't like it. I'm glad Minnesota traded him. I'm glad we got away from him. I don't want him back. That's all I gotta say about Diggs.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. I hate to agree with you, but you're right.
So Holder, before we go off the air, next week it's gonna be another show, right? Can you do me a favor? Can you tell the fans what division we're gonna talk about next week, or do you want to have them cliffhanger to come back next time to listen?
What do you recommend?
Hey, I'm asking you. That means you be the bad guy, not me.
Hey, the show is called Third Down with Morgan Holder, okay? Morgan is the first name.
That doesn't mean anything, Holder.
So I will follow your lead. I may agree, I may disagree.
Holder, that's not what I asked you. I want you. I guess, fans. Well, I guess I could be nice and let you know that next week on the show we'll talk about the AFC West and the NFC West.
I can't believe you told them.
I know. Holder, I wanted you to be the bad guy, but instead I didn't want to be bad guy this week. I didn't talk. I didn't say nothing negative either, besides about Derek Carr and Diggs this whole show. I didn't put no team in Derek, none of that. And that's surprisingly. Usually,
you didn't even swear. I'm surprised.
Oh, I did. I said the A word.
Yeah, but that's a donkey.
That's true. That is true. Guys, before we get off, before we close this segment, I want to say this. I cannot wait until next season. I am ready. I'm hyped. I'm ready to see what team is going to be really good and what team is going to be really sucky. I believe that Minnesota is going to come in this 14-3 again, but this time being 14-3, not throw a 4-yard pass when they need 8 yards. And why I say that is because we got Brian Flores, defense coordinator, and he's coming. He's making his team really well. I can't wait. Holder, what about Pittsburgh, Holder? Anything about Pittsburgh? Any news, any updates that we should know about? Or how do you feel about your team for next year?
I feel great about my team next year. Possibility that Deontay Johnson could be released.
How does that make you feel?
We bring in Addison.
Addison's good. I like Addison.
Deontay's got drop issues, but I do like Deontay, but that's just scuttlebutt, you know. It wouldn't really be a big love loss, but Deontay's a great route runner. Other than that, I think we're going in the right direction. I still think Deontay is a big contributor to the team.
Do you think they should keep him on special teams?
He just goes backwards too much. He runs backwards, and if you need a first down, you can't do that.
Do you think they should keep him on special teams, like punt and kickoff return?
No, we got our special teams guy. Steven plays special team, and our other wide receiver that got hurt, can't think of his name right now. Austin.
Calvin Austin?
He plays punt return too.
Okay.
So we're good. I think if we let Deontay go, we can get a draft pick for him.
That's true. That is true. I can't wait. We got what, a month and a half, almost a month and a half to the draft. I'm excited. I can't wait. I'm like a fat kid wanting cake.
Month and a half. That's April.
Yeah, next month is March. We got like what a few more days left in this month. So I'm saying a month and a half.
Dude, isn't the draft? I thought the draft was in March.
Draft's in April.
No. You might want to do some research there, buddy.
I got a lot of time. The NFL draft is usually like toward the end of April.
I'm waiting. You still got to post that pink tutu picture you took.
You know what, Holder? I was hoping people would forget about this, but you keep on bringing it up. So you ready for this? When do you think the draft starts?
March, late March.
No. You want to put money on it?
No.
April 27th through April 29th. And it's going to be in Kansas City.
19 what?
What? No, April 27th to April 29th. And it's going to be in Kansas City.
19 what? 98? 1999?
2023, my guy.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll just have to wait till April then.
Back in the day, it used to be March, and you know, when you get older, you might forget some things. Like Holder just forgot. Hey, it was in April last year. It's gonna be April this year. Because I do remember in the mid '90s, and I want to say like the late '80s, used to be in March. Now it's in April.
Yeah, extended season too. So
that's true. That is true. I mean,
I get it.
Times are changing, and it's catching up with us for sure. Subscribers, listeners, before we end the show, again, if you want to give us a shout out, comment, likes, subscribe, you can all do that with Third Down with Morgan Holder. And I'll give you the email as well. It's Third Down with Morgan Holder. Third Down, 3RD, down with Morgan Holder at gmail.com. As well, Third Down with Morgan Holder on our YouTube channel. Third Down with Morgan Holder Facebook, and Third Down with Morgan Holder Twitter. We're moving up with the social media, guys. Next up, I think we're going to try to do maybe a TikTok. I don't know.
Oh no.
I don't know. I'm just saying I like doing what we're doing, and it's awesome. It's a great feeling. I want to keep it going. So
yeah, okay.
you gotta do the new trend, Holder. You gotta do shoot. You know what, Holder? I might need you to do the gritty. You know, I might need you to do the gritty.
Do the gritty because the Minnesota Vikings threw the game away.
That's not even funny. So what are you? Who was laughing? Now I'm about to cry. I can't believe you just said that on the show, and you just cursed at me.
Yeah. You know what? It's probably better if you sign out because I'm just going to roast you.
You know what? We got 2 more minutes. You got anything on your mind? Anything to let the listeners and subscribers know?
Nope. Just looking forward to next week because I got some interesting notes for those 2 conferences coming up.
Oh, look at you being prepared already. That's the first.
Well, those are, controversial conferences.
That's true. That is true. I'll give you that. Folks, if you guys want to know who won between me and Holder in this season, please give us a shout out and we can do that. And I will give you a shout out when we do that. So with that being said, I love you guys. Thank you for subscribing and listening. And don't let 4th down get you.
And I'd like to say, hey, stay penalty free, fans. Catch us on our next show. I'll be waiting. I hope I meet you there.
Meet you? Hold on, Holder. I can't let you go with meeting. Meet you there. You know nobody sees us, right? They hear us. This is audio.
I said meet. I didn't say see you. Meet you. They're meeting us.
Okay. I got you.